So the last part of question 1B, part 2, says, in terms of the percentage decrease in value, is it better to buy a cheaper car or a more expensive car? Justify your answer. So I've pasted this graph onto it, which is what we used in the previous question, so the percentage decrease in value versus the original price, just so that we can have a look at it and think about this. So we can see that there is, it depends on whether or not you want to take these out, but if you did take those out, you could see that maybe the relationship between the percentage decrease, it still sort of tends to increase a little bit in terms of original price. So even if you're buying a more expensive car, it potentially could decrease a little bit more each year than buying a cheaper car. Right. So it really, you could argue either way for this, right? So you could say, if you see the increase, then what would be the point of buying a more expensive car? Buy the cheaper car, because that percentage decrease would only be like maybe $500 each year, as opposed to buying like a $30,000 car. That percentage decrease, even if it was only 10% decrease, that's now $3,000 a year. So you're in terms of the percentage, you're not losing as much money. Okay, so that I would argue that would be it would be better to buy a cheaper car. So I would say buy a cheaper car. Okay, so 10% decrease in value is a lot less money than for a $5,000 car than a $30,000 car. And there seems to be an increasing devaluation with more expensive cars. So you're potentially losing more than 10%. Another thing that you could argue is that because the percentage decrease is the same for both, then maybe it doesn't matter, because at least you're getting the benefit of a better car potentially. You can actually make the most of that. So, or the more expensive, as both have a 10% loss. So just wear it. At least you have a better car. So in terms of, personally, if I was going to argue this, I would say buy the cheaper car, definitely. Even if it is an increasing percentage loss, you probably wouldn't lose as much money on a cheaper car as you would in a more expensive car. It doesn't matter if that would be an increasing trend or a flat trend, you're still not losing as much money. But you could definitely argue the other point that, if you're buying a more expensive car, at least you get the benefit of a better car. Yes, potentially you're losing some percentage on it, but you could argue that percentage is actually rather flat, and maybe that there's more pros to meet you than just the fact that you're going to, the resale value is going to be less because you may not want to sell it. Okay, so if you talk about one of these things, you could get a merit. If you make a final claim and then you have some correct assumptions about what you're talking about here, this is an excellence question. Basically, you just need to back up whatever you say with some statistical reasoning. So make sure that you actually say that because there's a relationship that's increasing as the original price is increasing, the devaluation is also increasing. That's why I would choose this car. Just make sure that you back it up.